Imagine waking up to the sound of burning timber and screaming villagers, only to see dragon-headed ships emerging from the morning mist like phantoms from another world. This was the terrifying reality for countless Europeans between 793 and 1066 AD, when Viking raiders turned the continent into their personal hunting ground. The first recorded Viking raid struck the monastery of Lindisfarne on June 8, 793, shocking the Christian world so profoundly that the scholar Alcuin wrote, "It was as if the very foundations of civilization were crumbling." Yet this was merely the opening act of a 3-century campaign that would reshape the map of Europe forever. These seafaring warriors from Denmark, Norway, and Sweden did not simply appear overnight as bloodthirsty pirates. They were the product of Scandinavian societies facing population pressure, political fragmentation, and the irresistible lure of wealth concentrated in poorly defended monasteries and trading centers across the continent. The Vikings perfected the art of lightning warfare centuries before the term existed, using their revolutionary longships with shallow drafts that could navigate both open seas and rivers, allowing them to strike deep into the heart of European territories, where no one expected seaborne attackers to appear. Paris endured multiple sieges, with the most famous occurring in 845, when Ragnar Lothbrok led 120 ships up the Seine River and extracted 7,000 pounds of silver from King Charles the Bald just to leave the city standing, establishing a precedent of Danegeld payments that would plague European rulers for generations. Here is where things get truly fascinating. Drop a comment below telling us which European city you think suffered the most devastating Viking attack, because the competition for that grim honor is surprisingly fierce, and the stories behind each raid reveal different aspects of medieval warfare and diplomacy. The great heathen army that invaded England in 865 was not a random collection of raiders, but a coordinated military force led by the sons of Ragnar Lothbrok, seeking revenge for their father, and their systematic conquest of Anglo-Saxon kingdoms demonstrated that Vikings were far more than mere pirates. They were nation builders who established the Donau, a territory covering nearly half of England, where Scandinavian law and culture dominated for centuries. Viking tactics evolved considerably over time, beginning with hit-and-run coastal raids targeting monasteries like Iona and Jarrow, but gradually expanding to include overwintering camps, river warfare using captured horses for mobility, and eventually full-scale territorial conquest, as seen in Ireland, where they founded cities like Dublin and Cork that remain major urban centers today. The psychological impact of Viking raids cannot be overstated. The mere sight of their distinctive dragon-proud ships sent entire communities fleeing inland, and the uncertainty of when and where they might strike next, created a climate of perpetual fear that fundamentally altered European military architecture, leading to the construction of fortified burhs in England and the development of heavy cavalry in Francia as defensive responses. If you want to dive deeper into these incredible stories of medieval warfare and discover which Viking leader actually managed to become a king in 4 different countries simultaneously, then smash that subscribe button like a berserker smashing through a monastery gate. Trust me, the rabbit hole of Norse military history gets even wilder from here. The Vikings ultimately transformed from raiders into traders, rulers, and settlers, with their descendants becoming the Norman conquerors of England, the founders of the Kievan Rus, and integral parts of the very European societies they once terrorized, proving that even the most destructive forces in history can evolve into builders of civilizations, leaving us to wonder what our modern world might have looked like if those dragon ships had never appeared on the horizon that fateful morning at Lindisfarne.